We're going live.
No. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Happy hump day, everybody. We're definitely going to get some of you guys humping today. That's for sure. Smash that like button for humping. Such a funny word, isn't it? Humping. Humping. Yeah. Anyway, how crude and vulgar. Yes, I am. We are live, everybody. We're going to be talking about how to build up a rotation today. A rotation of honeys. Rotation of beautiful, spicy senoritas. Can I get a hell yeah? Yeah. All right. All right. Hey, let them know you're not a nice guy. The idea of having a rotation of women seems impossible for some guys. And for others, they think it would be too difficult to manage multiple women, right? One's hard enough. One's hard enough. Can hardly deal with one woman. Oh, man. I did a stream on that. A couple of weeks ago, right? Like of all the guys are like, I couldn't possibly date multiple women, right? Either they think it's too hard or they have moral issues against it, whatever. Anyway. But some guys are struggling to get even one date, let alone 3, 4, or 5 dates with 3, 4, or 5 different women, right? So how do they even start if they can't even get one? So I'm going to go through all that today. And I know some of you guys in the live have done this too. All right. So I'm going to be laying out the steps that I essentially took for myself. And if you guys in the chat did something different, but it worked for you, then sound off, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is just the way that I happen to skin the cat. And you need to get relatively good at this if you're going to be out in the dating circuit, right? Even if your goal is to eventually, settle, like consolidate on one chick, right? If that's what your goal is, awesome. If your goal is to just do this forever, then you need to learn this too. Hold on one second. I got people pinging me here and it's in my ear and it's driving me nuts. All right, there we go. So you got to learn how to do this, right? Because you need to get relatively good at it, because there's going to be times when you have a rotation of plates and then all of your plates just fall off at once, right? It happens to the best of us. Okay. But if one plate falls off, no big deal, right? You have other plates you're dealing with. But if they all fall off at once and you're back at square one, this frustrates guys, right? I've seen guys give up over this, right? They get so upset by this. But learning how to do this, knowing you know how to do this, it'll give you the confidence to do it again, right? It's kind of like if you lost your job today, what would you do? What would you do about it? Would you just sulk and just, like, this is it? This is it. I could never get a job again. I'm just going to give up on working. Who needs money? No, you dust yourself off and get back out there and apply for jobs and go get back in the workforce, I guess, unless you're a liberal or something. And then you're like, I'm just going to live off the government dole. They're giving out checks now. I don't know, but you need to learn how to do this and get pretty good at this. And it's a life skill. All right. Oh, we got some people in the chats already. What we got going on here? Yeah, hump day. Woo! First timer. That's what she said. That's what she said. That's right. All right, before we get too far into this, let's do some housekeeping. Be sure to join me for these lives every Wednesday and Friday mornings. I'm here every Wednesday and Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And if you can't join live, then that's what the replays are for. Just, bookmark it. Tune in every Wednesday and Friday. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. That way you know when I'm going live. Drop a comment. Any comment will do, especially if you're watching live right now. These go by so much smoother if the guys in the live chat chime in. They add their 2 cents worth, or as it were, right? It's more fun when you guys are interacting with the video and I can bring up your comments and stuff during the stream than me just talking to a camera for 30 minutes to an hour. So sound off. And then if you are watching on the replay, drop a comment below. If you are listening on your favorite audio platform, because I post these after I go live. I post these as a replay on Spotify and, Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to the audio version, stop what you're doing right now. Give us a 5-star review. And then write just 2 sentences why you like the show. That helps out more, it helps boost us on the charts. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good ones. Get on the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10. If you've been thinking about getting in the premium tier 3 for the one-on-one coaching, where you get a one-on-one call with me every month, and then you get unlimited access to me over Telegram with text, voice, and video messages, there's only one spot left. So get on it now. Patreon.com/comeonmanpod.com. Stop waiting. Let's get you a rotation of women. Let's get you a rotation. Let's do this. And then if you want to support the show with a one-time thing, you don't want to join the Patreon, send super chats. If you get value out of these streams, drop a super chat. I think you can send one for as little as $1, or you can send a super sticker, whatever you want to do. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I will send you some free stickers. All those stickers are available as merch as well. Let them know that you're not a nice guy. So you can be a good guy, but you can never be a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Let them know what you're about. Chicks don't like nice guys. And then there's also some designs that are not available as stickers, like this, the Rule Zero merch. But you can get all that at merch.comeonmanpod.com. I have some of them linked below in the video. You can check out some of the Rule Zero merch, and I've got the Not a Nice Guy stuff down there. And then finally, check out my practical law of attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's a mindset course. It's chick crack free. It will get your mind right? A lot of this stuff is in your mind. It's your mindset, right? I'm listening to a really good book right now. It's very short. It's called Super Coach or something like that. How to Be a Super Coach by Michael Neal, I think. And one of the things that he talks about in there is how everything that you think is a reality problem in your world right now, it's not a reality problem. It's a thinking problem, right? It's how you're perceiving the problem. And I was like, that's awesome. It's such a good concept to become aware of. And my course will help you do that. So I'll play you a commercial for that, and then we'll get the ball going today. Do you struggle to find the kind of women you want? Are you tired of swiping away all day on dating apps and only finding mediocre women? When you're out and about at the supermarket or at the mall, all you see are woke liberal women? You can't seem to find a traditional submissive woman that checks all your boxes. What if I were to tell you that the reason why you can't find your traditional submissive woman is because of your mindset, because of your paradigm? We get what we focus on in life. And you have programmed your mind to think that there's only trash women around you. You've programmed your mind by focusing on what you don't want in a relationship. To solve this problem, I've created my Practical Law of Attraction course. In my course, I will teach you how to reprogram your subconscious mind so that you will be hyper aware of the kind of women that will check all of your boxes. It's not that they weren't there before, it's just that you weren't aware of them because of your current mindset. So let's change that mindset today. Check out my course by visiting loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So act now. Act now, guys. Act now. All right. Before we go too much further here, for you guys that are on the Facebook and the Twitter, smash that like, and then head over to YouTube. Boop. All right. Oh, hey, look, we got a super chat already from my brother Nathan. My brother Nathan, he supports me every stream, almost every stream, and I really appreciate that. You get this today, brother. You get this. Yep.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right? I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks.
I forgot to turn off the loop. But he fucks. He gets 2 fucks on that because He supports the show pretty much every stream. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. That's right. Like buttons are alpha. Oh man, that's Alex. He was just on the stream on Friday. If you guys missed it, after this, go back and watch that one. It was a really good one. Alex, I've got some shorts right now that I posted over the weekend with us talking about, keeping your mouth shut around the cops that are blowing up on YouTube right now. Good stuff. Good stuff. As one person yesterday, they're like, that's not moral at all. I'm like, what, not talking to cops? I don't know. It's because I was like, more people could get away with crimes if they just shut up. And they're like, that's not moral, telling people to do that. Get out of here with your moralities. All right. Yeah, the ones that you can make. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time, man. Okay. Y'all wanna get a bevy of Betties. All right. So for you guys that know how to do this sort of thing, this is a refresher maybe, or maybe I did something differently. So I'm curious to know if you did anything different. So sound off in the live chat. Some of you guys are here because you're struggling to get either one initial date, or maybe you can get one, but you want to know how to get more and how to juggle more, right? That's what we're going to get into today. So let's start off with the basics, guys. How are you even meeting the whammon? There's essentially 4 ways to meet women, right? And I did a whole live on it a month or 2 ago. So go back and watch that. I talk about the pros and cons of each of these methods, right? But essentially you have cold approach, right? You have social circle, you have dating apps, and then you have social media, which is basically a virtual cold approach. Okay. So pick whatever one that works, or use multiple, just, whatever one that you're good at, go with it. Okay. Some guys have more luck with cold approach than they do on dating apps. Some guys are all about the social circle, whatever works, do it. Okay. I'm never going to be the guy that's like, this is the only way to do it. And if you don't do it this way, you're not an alpha. Man, whatever gets you laid, gets you laid. Am I right? Am I right, guys? Hey, okay. So smash that like button. All right. So for the purpose of this talk, I'm going to be assuming dating apps, because that's how I met pretty much every date I went on after my divorce and after Red Pill Chick, right? I'm a big proponent of dating apps because I think they're the most efficient way to date and meet people. If you want to know why, send a $2 super chat and I'll get into that. But I'm not going to explain that today. So everything else I'm assuming is based on dating apps today. Now, a lot of these principles are the same, right? Once you get into it, like how you're actually talking to women and how you're setting up the date, a lot of the concepts are the same, right? So let's say you do meet a chick with cold approach. Okay. You're going to probably get her number. That's usually what guys do, right? They get their number and then they reach out on like text or phone call or something like that. Now you're in the same situation as if you had matched on a dating app. Okay. Do you see where I'm getting here? Right. You're going to text back and forth, no more than 10, 15 messages before finding a segue to set a date, or you're going to call her and you're going to talk no more than 10, 15 minutes before finding a segue to set a date. You get where I'm going here, son? Do you see the progression here, son? All right. So that being said, you can maybe see the similarities of what I'm going to say and apply it to your situation. Like if you do cold approach, but otherwise I'm assuming dating apps for this. All right. Let's see here. Are you getting matches? Let's see here. I had a rotation, but then I evolved. What? What do you mean you evolved? Yes. Get her in front of you. That's the important thing. How do you get her either across the table or better yet, right next to you, right? That's all that matters. All this other shit doesn't matter. We'll talk about that. Okay. So on dating apps, are you getting matches? Let's start there. Are you even getting matches? Okay. If yes, you're getting consistent matches, then your bio is probably pretty good. right? You probably have decent pictures. Your bio is probably okay, because if you're not getting any matches, your profile needs work. All right, let's start there. Okay. All right. Now, yeah. So if you're not getting any matches and you just don't know why, and you're spinning your wheels and you're like, dating apps suck, I'm just going to go out cold approaching, and then you don't do that either. Instead of doing that, get on the Patreon. Let me help you. Let's take a look at your profile. Let's take a look at your pictures. Let's take a look at your bio. All right. I did a whole episode too on your creating the ultimate online dating profile. I've done 2 episodes on that now. So after this, maybe go check that out. If you still want some help with it, get on the Patreon. All right. There's only 1 spot left on the premium tier. Just remember that. You're getting matches. Okay. This is the next step. You're getting matches, but you're just not getting dates. Okay. This is where a lot of guys are. All right. A lot of guys are stuck in this match purgatory, and they're not getting actual dates. Okay. So if you're getting matches, but you're not getting dates, then now you need to work on your opener, your banter, and your close. All right. Those 3 things. So how I would open typically was what I like to do, and there's more than one ways to do this. So if you guys have a killer opener, or you have a killer method for coming up with an opener, drop it in the chat. But this is what I would do. I would look through their profile, and I would try to find a picture and then guess what they were thinking in the moment on one picture, right? So let's say like pick number 3. I would say, you look like you're afraid that you might have left your toaster on, right? Like just something like that, right? That usually will get a response, because most guys don't open with shit like that. Most guys open with, hey, beautiful, you look like trouble, right? Like just boring openers. But if you say something like you're assuming something and just go with it, you'll usually get a response. All right. Luis says, my profiles, if you're below an 8 or a 10, move on. I have better things to do. He's referencing a post I put on social media yesterday with this guy, Cole. Cole had someone screenshotted this guy on Tinder, and he was just like, it looked like a fucking mugshot. You know what I mean? Like the guy just looked like he was a stone cold killer. He looked like he was about 50 pounds overweight, just mean mugging the camera. And it says like, if you're not an 8 or a 10, move on, And I'm just like, wow, you can't look like that, Cole, and then have an attitude like that. No one wants to date someone like that. No one wants to date anybody with a negative attitude. That's for one. Oh, what's this? Oh, this was your opener. If you had a boyfriend, we would make him jealous. Okay. All right. I can see that might get a reaction. It's all about getting a reaction, right? You want to get her like curious enough, because this is the way chicks use dating apps. And I've talked about this a bunch of times, right? Chicks, like they have so many matches that they're using the dating app to filter out options, as opposed to getting matches. Like we're trying to get matches and get on a date. They're trying to filter out all their options. So what they'll do is they'll look at all the messages in the preview pane. And so you have about 7 words to sort of capture her attention. If you say something clever before opening that message up, she's going to look at your profile. She's going to look at your profile, look at your pictures, look at your bio real quick, and go, yeah, okay, he seems cute. He seems cool. Now I will reply to this guy, right? Like that's how chicks use the dating app. Other guys, they're just like not clever enough. They're just blowing past them. So you got to get her attention in the first 7 words. Okay. So that's how you open. Then, now that you've opened and you got a reaction out of her, now you want to banter. Okay. Now this is where you, a lot of this interaction with women stuff, you want to practice the 3 T's, right? Touch, tease, and tell. You can't touch about a dating app, but you can tease and tell them what to do. Okay. So any interaction with chicks, you want to practice the 3 T's as much as possible. That builds heat. That's healthy emotional anticipation and tension, and you need that to build attraction. Okay. If she's matching with you on a dating app, her attraction level to you is about a 5 or a 6 level, right? She's about mid-range, and how you interact with her is going to build that attraction level up enough to where she's actually going to want to meet you in person. Okay. That's the goal here. Same thing with when you just meet a chick, like cold approach in person, right? She doesn't know you from Adam. So, so you got to be able to banter with her in the moment and be able to pique her interest enough that she wants to give you her number, that she wants to perhaps, talk to you more and meet you in person. Right. That's what it's all about. It's all about the banter. All right. Where was I going with that? Okay, so you want to learn how to banter, and then you want to be able to close. Okay. So another thing that that comes out to the 3 T's is how you close too, right? A lot of your interaction with women is testing for interest, right? And there's basically 3 levels of testing. You want to the first level is just to see if she'll engage with you or not, right? That's where your opener comes in. If you're cold approaching, same thing. It's just how you start the conversation. If she wants to continue that conversation, she'll continue, right? And then that's where level 2 comes in, because level 2 is more organic. You're going to naturally progress into that level 2 test where you're going to just keep the conversation going, okay? And you want to keep it relatively short. Like I said, 10 to 15 messages in person, 10 to 15 text messages on the app. If your app has an audio feature, I was just telling this to one of my Patreon clients last night. I was like, you need to take advantage of that more, right? Like he was on Hinge. Hinge has like an audio message feature, right? Send audio messages, or if you can, video messages more than you're sending text messages. You'll go much farther. Trust me on this. Most guys aren't doing that. And chicks like to hear your voice. They can tell by your inflection, and if you're doing video, they can tell by your body language and stuff that you're not a serial killer, and that will make you they'll make you more trustworthy, right? They'll have more of that comfort feeling and be more secure about meeting you in person. Okay, so use those voice and video messages more than you're doing now. Okay, so then the third part here is closing. And so, like I said, you're testing for interest. Now, when you're talking to chicks, there's 3 tests of interest. We talked about 1 and 2. 3 is where you require something of her, right? So if you're meeting her in person, the third test of interest would be, hey, give me your number, right? Open your phone up and be like, hey, give me your number. I'd like to meet you for drinks sometime, right? On a dating app, you already have her information. You're already talking with her. So now what I used to like to do is I used to like to close on the dating app. So I would find a segue after 10 to 15 messages and be like, you know what? You seem like a cool chick. When are you free to get together? Right. And chicks that are interested will give you their availability. And I'd say, okay, great. Thursday, meet me at the Feisty Pint, 7 p.m. Thursday night. I'm telling her, I'm not asking her, right? That's the part of the 3 T's, right? Tease, touch, and tell, like telling her what to do. That's setting the tone and leading. It's also a very bold and dominant move. Okay. Chicks actually really dig it. You should try that out. Don't just take my word for it. Okay. You'll find that when you follow that formula, no more than 10 to 15 messages, you're bantering. If she's engaged in conversation with you, she has high interest. Okay. When you close for that date and you do it like I tell you, tell her to meet you at this place at this time. Don't ask her what she wants to do. Just tell her to meet you somewhere. You're going to get more yeses. All right. Yeah. Let's see here. If she wants to continue the conversation, be sure to try to move locations when you have a successful cold approach. Yeah. The Feisty Pint has seen a lot of it. It has actually. If you're ever in Grand Junction, go to the Feisty Pint. It's actually a pretty cool place. Let's see here. I like to use the same opener. It has worked well, and always tell them to give you their number. Yeah. What's your opener, Nathan? Oh, yeah. And you use the Facebook dating app. Okay. What's your opener, Nathan? Let us know what your opener is. There's some guys on my Patreon that they came from another dating coach. Like they both came from the same dating coach. And that dating coach gives them a formula for, like basically a PDF, a formula. And the opener that coach gave them was, you look like you're 100% going to steal my hoodie, or something like that. Right. Very, very similar. You're going to steal my hoodie. And I'm like, that probably does get a reaction from chicks, but it also kind of looks like a copy and paste opener, which I don't recommend. But if it works for you, then do it. You know, I'm not like, I never say don't do it that way. That would never work, because I say try it. Hey, if whatever you're doing right now doesn't work, doesn't hurt to try something else, right? So try that one out, right? You 100% look like you're going to steal my hoodie. But yeah, I prefer to try to tailor it for the moment. And the picture opener that I used was a way of doing that. So it's not the only way of doing it. Okay. So you need to get more yeses, right? So you're closing for dates. So what I would do is I would close on the app. I would say, meet me, what are you free to get together? Great. Meet me at this place at this time. And I always had a go-to, always have a go-to for your first date. Feisty Pint for me in Grand Junction, the Horsefly in Montrose, my go-tos. CB's and Delta. Don't talk about Delta enough, because there's not a lot of chicks over here in the Delta County area. But yeah, Feisty Pint and whatever. So have a go-to that you don't even have to think about it, right? You don't have to think like, oh, where should I take her? Nah, you have a go-to. And then with your go-to, you want to have a second place in mind. That's for another episode though. So you're going to get more yeses with this. After I would close, then I would say, you know what? I hate talking on these dating apps. Give me your number. That was a secondary test of interest. If they gave me their number without hesitation, I knew they had a decent level of interest, right? And then once I got their number, I would either text them, send them a voice message, or send them a video message, just saying, hey, hey, this is Paul from Tinder. Now you have my number too, right? And then I would get the fuck off the phone. I would stop texting until the date. All right. So you're going to get more yeses if you do it that way. I know dating coaches that recommend getting the number on the dating app first and then calling her to set up the date. You can do it that way too. I've had just as many successes and failures with that as I have just closing on the app. So I just closed on the app. Like it worked just as well for me. So I don't think that you have to call them and call them on the phone and do that. You don't have to do any of that. And I fucking hate talking to people on the phone. So voice messages over text is like the next best thing. Okay, Nathan says, opener is, if you came with a warning label, what would it say? Ooh, yeah, I like that one. That would spark a conversation for sure. Hey guys, send a super chat. All right. So you're getting matches, not getting dates. We talked about that. So now you should be getting more yeses at least, right? Now you could close for dates. This is the next step, right? You could close for dates. You get really good at this. You could close for dates, but now chicks are flaking out on you. Oh, this is another thing that frustrates guys. So how far out you set dates, right? Will really depend on the flake rate, right? So if you can get a date within 2 to 3 days of you setting the date, you're going to, the chance of her flaking is less, right? Anything more than 2 or 3 days, like the further you out you go, the higher the flake rate is. Okay. So like I would say if you can't, like 4 would be the max. 4 days out would be the max I would set a date. If a chick can't meet you within 4 days, just tell her, be like, you know what? I'll tell you what, I have a great place in mind. I'll ping you in 4 days to check your availability, right? And then set a calendar reminder, right? And then get off the phone, stop texting with her. Don't continue that conversation. You don't need to do that. Just set a calendar reminder and say, I'll reach out to you in a couple of days and check your availability. Now, if you reach out again in 4 days and she still isn't available, she's just not interested. She's wasting your time. Cut her loose. Part of this, guys, is learning when to cut these bitches loose. All right. There's if you read mode 1, he talks about there's 4 types of women, right? There's reciprocators, there's wholesome pretenders, there's rejectors, and there's time wasters. Okay. You want to get rid of the time wasters quickly. And you'll know that because they'll never want to meet in person. They just want to text. Okay. Cut those bitches loose. You're never going to go anywhere with those guys. Rejectors are awesome because like if you're meeting a chick in person and she just flat out says like she's not interested, you're not wasting your time with these chicks. So rejectors are actually cool. Okay. On a dating app, you'll know these rejectors because, after a couple of messages, they'll just unmatch you. Okay. Like they just, okay, cool. You're not interested. Don't take it personally. Then you'll have your wholesome pretenders, and then you have your reciprocators. For me, I like reciprocators. Okay, I like walking through open doors. You sort of want to choose a chick that chooses you. You know what I mean? That's where you get that high interest level. That's where you get that genuine desire stuff. Okay, these chicks that are wholesome pretenders are chicks that you have to seduce. That you have to convince them to go out with you. Now, like when I talked to Alan Roger Curry, who wrote Mode 1, he liked those chicks. He liked the wholesome pretenders chicks because he liked the challenge of that. If that's you, cool. I am just like, I don't want to waste my time with that shit, right? Oh, Nathan says 3-day rule for me. More than that, and she's gonna flake on you. Yeah, man. Utilize the bitch management guide. What's the bitch management guide, Luis? What even is that? So yeah, anyway, if you're trying to set dates out for like a week, I had a guy on Patreon who matched with this chick, and when he asked her when she's free to get together, she was like, I can't meet up for 2 weeks. And he was like, what do I say to this? And I was like, well, you don't set a date for 2 weeks out because that's not going to happen. You're just wasting your time. So I said, tell her, I was like, set a calendar reminder and tell her, okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll reach out on the 15th, and I have a great place in mind, and I'll check your availability then, and then get off the phone. That's what you do, right? Now she's an option that you can reach out to later, and she's in your pipeline. She's in your sales pipeline now. Okay. But you don't want to try to set that date 2 weeks in advance. She's gonna forget about it, or she's gonna flake on you. Either way, right? Because bitches be cray. Let's see here. Now, another thing you need to realize too. Let's say you are following the 3-day out rule, right? No more than 2 or 3 days. You need to make sure that you're getting them to an emotional high point when you're closing, right? You want to get to a high point in the conversation. Well, what's that mean? Right? That's where like you say a funny joke, right? And everyone's laughing and she's really engaged and she's like, following along with your funny banter and stuff like that. And she's playing along. She's at an emotional high point. She's enjoying herself. Okay. Right? You want to get her up in her feels and then bam, close at a high point. That's what's going to reduce the flake rate. More, right? So no more than 2 or 3 days out, get her to a high point when you close. Okay. But if you're still doing that, you're still going to experience chicks flaking on you. You're just going to experience this. All right. Now this chicks flaking and ghosting is what like just really takes the wind out of most dudes' sales. Right. It actually takes the wind out of chicks' sales too. I see chicks complaining about dudes like ghosting them and stuff all the time too. But it's just the nature of the beast. But women are notorious for this because they have so many more options than you do that you would do the same. If you had just as many options as like every chick on a dating app, you would be a little more flaky too, right? Hopefully you're a little better with your scheduling though, right? You keep a calendar and you're like, okay, I'm meeting with Cindy on Thursday. I'm meeting with Susie on Friday, right? Like, you're a little more organized. Most chicks are scatterbrained, right? Because they're all up in their emotions or whatever. They don't know how to keep a goddamn calendar. So more chicks are going to be flaky. It's just the nature of the beast. You can't avoid it completely. All you could do is just sort of follow best practices, right? No more than 2-3 dates and then close at a high point and you'll have a reduced flake rate. All right. This also kind of goes back to bantering, right? How are you bantering when you close? because bantering is fun. Like chicks like that banter. They'll engage with you more if you banter. A lot of guys just have a problem of just texting boring shit, right? Like when a chick asks you about your day, they're like, "Oh, it was okay. Maybe they're a mechanic. Oh, it was okay today. I worked on some shocks and struts today, and I had about 5 oil changes." Like, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about that. Okay, that's boring. I like to say, if it's not going to get you sex, don't send the text. Okay, if it's not going to get you sex, don't send the text. Right? Talking to a chick about changing struts and fucking working on transmissions is not going to blow her skirt up. Okay. But, jokingly playing with her and teasing her about stuff and keeping yourself a mystery is what's going to, get her more engaged, right? Ask her engaging questions. What are you passionate about? Like, shit like that. Okay. So chicks are just flaky. It's just, you got to change your mindset about flaky chicks. All right. That's the big thing about flaky chicks. That's how you deal with flaky chicks, is you change your mindset about it. You got to look at it like they're weeding themselves out. Okay. They're doing you a favor, right? They're not wasting your time. So if a chick's being flaky, you got to really change your mindset about it. You want to be like, as you're building up your rotation, you're not going to have other chicks to fall back on. So what you really need to start doing is getting out of your fucking house and doing fun stuff that you enjoy doing outside of women, right? So one of the things that I used to like to do, especially on the weekends, is I'd like to go mountain biking, or I'd like to take my dog out hiking on the mesa up here. So I would actually I would plan for that. Like I would plan my day around, hey, I'm going to go on this, I went on a 30-mile bike ride once from Palisade to Loma, Colorado. It was like about 30 miles. So it was about 60 miles round trip. It was my entire day. Planned my whole day around that. Like I did not set up any dates. I did not even try to set up dates that day because I was like, I'm doing this, right? You want to get to where you have all these other things outside of women that fill your cup up with, right? You want to fill your time up with stuff that you enjoy doing. And that's how you build up your rotation. Cause then you what you really want to do is get to a point where you're not needy, cause if you're needy and you can't get dates and you're just trying to get that one fucking date, like now you're going to settle for whatever you can get. Right. You don't want to be in that place. Oh man. Let's see here. I also text to confirm. Most towns around me are 30. Yeah, I do too. I highly recommend confirming. Dave Parada's method of confirm for me is what I followed. Like Corey Wayne in his book, he talks about don't confirming. It's beta behavior. It's needy behavior. Fuck that noise, man. If you don't confirm, you're going to get stood up a lot. She has a nice face, but the ass. Oh no. All right. So, okay. Now you want to always be closing. Always be closing. Coffee's for closers, guys. Always be closing. You want to always be swiping, matching, bantering, and closing. Okay. You don't want to stop once you hooked one. That's a problem that a lot of guys get, right? They get a live one, right? They get one that they're interested in. They stop swiping and trying to get more matches at this point. They're like, okay, I got a fish hooked. I'm going to reel this one in. I'm just going to reel this one in. Now, if you're a serious angler, you're a serious fisherman, you're going to have multiple lines in the water, right? You're going to be reeling this fish in, and then, oh, hey, I got a bite over here too. Let me reel this one in real quick. Let me go reel this one in. You want to be doing that. You want to be constantly swiping and matching and bantering and closing as much as possible. Okay. You don't want to stop because you hooked one, right? You got to have multiple lines in the water. Grant Cardone, he wrote a book called Sell or Be Sold. I highly recommend this because dating is sales. If you can learn sales, get good at sales, you're going to get good at dating. Okay. Grant Cardone wrote a book, Sell or Be Sold. And one of the things that really resonated with me in that book is he talks about how guys that lose a sale and they get so frustrated that they lost a sale, they're not really upset that they lost that opportunity for that one sale. What they're mad about is that they didn't build up their pipeline. You know what I mean? Right? Because if you lose this one sale, but you have a whole pipeline of options, like you could go back to the well. It's much easier, right? So like I said, that chick that guy couldn't go on a date with for 2 weeks, she's in the pipeline now, right? He hadn't closed on her, but she's in the pipeline. You know what I mean? Like you want to build up that pipeline. So it's okay if some of these chicks can't meet up, for a week or two. Just put them on your calendar. Don't write them off yet. Put them on your calendar and set a reminder to follow up with them, right? Because a lot of sales they don't come from the first call. They come from the follow-up, right? So chick can't meet up within 2 or 3 days, put her in the pipeline. She's now an option. And so, yeah, you don't want to lose a sale and then be so distraught because that was your only option in the pipeline. So you always want to be closing. You always want to be swiping. You always want to be matching. You always want to be bantering. You always want to be closing. If you're a guy that likes to meet women in person, right, whether it's cold approach or social circles, you want to always be out number closing. You always want to be out meeting new women and number closing, right? You want to, so I had a guy who was getting really frustrated with the dating apps, and he's like, I think I'm just going to meet chicks organically in person. And I was like, okay, what's your plan with that? Because a lot of guys say that, but they don't make a plan, right? And they don't set a goal around that. It's like it ends up becoming a cope, and they end up just sitting at home not doing anything, right? So I was like, okay, if you're going to do that, then this is what I want you to do. I want you to set a plan. You either need to plan, like you go out every Tuesday night, or you go out every Tuesday and Thursday night, whatever. And then you want to try to close 5 chicks, right? Like you need to set some kind of goal, some kind of actionable goal that you can work towards. Because otherwise you're just going to sit at home and make an excuse, So it's all a grind. It's all a grind, right? If you're doing social media game, right? My buddy Benny Lichtenwalner is a master at social media game. If you guys want to learn social media game, I highly recommend you follow him. He's Coach Benny Dating or something like that on TikTok. And like he'll school you on social media, right? And I learned a lot from him. Like I know his fundamental procedure for it, but I already told him, I was like, dude, if anybody wants to learn that, I'm gonna recommend them over to you. Because that's his thing, And he's also a good friend of mine. But on dating apps, or I'm sorry, on social media, you want to be adding, the max amount of girls you can add every day. And on like Facebook and Instagram, that's 30 chicks. So every day you want to set aside 30 minutes to an hour to go through and add 30 new prospects, right? And then you want to keep track of who accepts your friend requests and put calendar reminders out to reach out to them in a week. It's all a grind, but you gotta do it. You gotta build up that pipeline if you want a rotation. All right. If you want a rotation, there's some work involved. Okay. You don't just show up and with your 6-pack abs and just get your 20 chicks. Like that's not how it works. Okay. It's all a numbers game, baby. That's right. Get out of the house, expand your route, linger in public. Right. Dr. Robert Glover, my man. All right. Always be closing. You want to build up your pipeline. Okay. Now, if you're still having problems getting even one date, you need some practice. Okay. You want to lower your standards a little bit. All right. You want to lower your standards a little bit. You're shooting for the sun. You're shooting for the sun, kid, but you're going to get burned. Okay. So you want to lower your standards a little bit. All right. You want to go out. Like a lot of dating coaches are probably not going to like this, but it's effective. You want to go out with some pigs. You want to go out with some MILFs. You want to go out with some chicks that hit the fucking wall, whatever. Okay. You want to lower your standards a little bit. All right. Now you don't have to sleep with these chicks. All right. You don't have to get into relationships with these chicks. Okay. But you got to get some practice in. You've got to go get some practice closing and actually get in front of some people. Okay. If you're having problems getting one date, lower your standards and start practicing on on some uglier chicks. Okay. Get some actual dates under your belt. Okay. Get the process down. You don't have to sleep with them. You don't have to have relationships with them. You don't have to go on multiple dates with them. Okay. You can just go out for drinks, have one drink, and then end the date. It's just practice. Now, Dr. Robert Glover recommends doing what he calls a 12 for 12. Hold on one second. God, these early mornings, man. He recommends doing a 12 for 12. So that's 12 dates, 12 different chicks in a 12-week period. Okay. It's just for practice. So this could be old ladies. All right. It could be, it could be fat chicks. It doesn't matter. It's just practice. You want to go on at least 12 of these practice dates. Okay. Get your body language down. Get the bantering down on the dating app. Get the bantering down, get the closing down, and get them in person. And then you can practice dating in person. That's kind of a separate animal today, but it's part of this, right? You want to get good at being in person too, or you're not going to keep chicks around long enough for them to be in a rotation. All right. Catfish dates are excellent for this. Okay. There's so many chicks on dating apps that look good on the dating app, and then they're absolute pigs in person. These are perfect practice dates. A lot of guys get so pissed at this, right? They'll tell the chick, fuck off. And then they'll turn around and walk out, go home and jerk off. Okay. That's time wasted. Going all the way out to a venue just to tell a chick off because you got to hold women accountable. That's a waste of your time. But what is not a waste of your time is going there and going, okay, this is a practice date. And then immediately go into practice mode, practice bantering, practice open body language, all that kind of stuff is not time wasted. And then it can be over after one drink and be like, you know what? I got an early morning tomorrow, so I got to get going. It was really nice meeting you. Good luck in your dating. Peace out. All right. It's just practice. You need practice. After I actually got really good at closing and actually meeting chicks for dates and stuff like that, there's lots of chicks out there that use pics from like 5 years ago, right? You can start weeding out the catfishes for the most part, right? If they're using all the camera angle, like if they're doing the top-down camera angle shit, they're doing just the cropped out face pic, they're doing all Snapchat filters, you can weed most of those chicks out once you get good at this, right? Weed all those chicks out. But there's still going to be chicks that put pictures from 5 or 10 years ago where they look better and they've gained 20 pounds that you're going to meet up with. You're going to be like, this is not what I expected. Boom. Practice date time. Okay. That's all. Excellent for this. And so you also never want to stop practicing. Like I always, throughout the whole time I was doing this, even when I had a rotation, I was always closing, always matching, always going out. And they're like, maybe 1/3 of them would be catfishes. I'm like, okay, well, it's practice, practice. Hold on. I got it down here. Let's see here. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it right here. Now, this is really good to have these practice dates because you have no attachment to outcome with this, right? This is the mindset you need to have when dating anyway, right? You do this when a woman is hot, right? I'm sorry, to do this when a woman is hot, you want to not have an attachment to outcome with her either, but most guys don't, right? They'll treat these pigs that they go out with the total indifference or whatever. But then when they get a hot chick, they're like qualifying themselves to this hot chick, right? Because they don't want to lose her. So you can't do that. So you want to treat all women the same, and you want to treat every date like it's a science experiment. Right? You want to go into the date wondering if you like her or not, and not try to make her like you. You want to be the buyer, not the seller. You want to do this with any interaction, even when she's a hot chick, even when she's an ugly chick. Treat them all the same. And you want to treat it like a science experiment, right? Go into each date and then evaluate after the date, like what worked, what didn't, right? What could I have done better? Okay. That's how you get better at this stuff. And you can't hit a home run in the major leagues without taking a few swings in the minors. All right. I learned that from Dr. Robert Glover. I'm going to change this though. You don't get on the main roster in WWE without spending some time in NXT. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a super chat from Luis here. $2 for the algorithm. You get this, man. You get this. You get this. Who's the master? Yeah. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. Send a super chat, guys. Support the show. So you want to get some practice under your belt. Okay. Once you get some practice, now you can go after some of the bigger fish. Okay. You can go after some of the hotter chicks. Okay. Because you're going to be good at banter at this point. You're going to be good at closing at this point. You're going to be good at dating in person at this point because you've had practice. It's going to be second nature now. Okay. Got to build up that muscle memory. So now you're good at getting dates. You're good at getting them in person. Pre-selection is your friend, guys. Pre-selection is your friend. It's easier once you have a rotation, but we're talking about how to build up that rotation, right? Until you get that rotation and you get like that real pre-selection, you could fake it until you make it. Okay. You could fake it until you make it. Because you're going to essentially do this anyway. You're going to act this way when you have chicks. So you might as well start acting this way when you don't have the chicks. Okay. You want to do things like don't be on dating apps after 7 p.m. on Friday or Saturday nights. All right. You don't want to be texting and doing phone calls after 7 p.m. on Friday or Saturday nights. You can do this every night. I know people that recommend doing this as a general rule, like just stop answering texts, stop answering phones after 7 p.m. Okay. Because when you do this, it gives people the perception that you're busy every night, right? It gets that hamster wheel going. I wonder who he's out with. I wonder what he's doing. Why can't he reply to that text? You don't reply to the next day, right? So you can do that every night of the week, but at a minimum, do this on Friday and Saturday nights because those are prime date nights, right? You don't want chicks thinking that you don't have anything better going on Friday or Saturday night. High value dudes with lots of options are going out on Friday and Saturday nights. They have things to do. Even if you don't, though, just don't answer your phone. Okay. You don't want to be that guy that's texting and stuff on a Friday or Saturday night, basically putting out a bat signal to a chick saying, I don't get laid. Okay. I don't have any options this weekend. So, that basically is just telling her you're a fucking loser. All right. You don't want to put that signal out there. So find something else to do maybe on those nights, but just don't be answering your phone. Don't be texting. Don't be swiping on the dating apps on Friday or Saturday nights. I know you're horny, but you're not going to get laid that night anyway. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get laid that night anyway. So just fucking don't do it. Okay. Get that hamster wheel going with these chicks that reach out to you on the Friday or Saturday nights. If you haven't slept with them yet, right? Let them think that you got something better going on. You can answer if it's Friday night, you can answer Saturday morning if you want. Okay. Chick's imagination's your friend with this stuff. Don't schedule first dates on Friday or Saturday nights. These are reserved for women you're sleeping with. This is a general rule that I used to follow, and I think it's a good rule to follow. But Paul, what if I only have Friday or Saturday nights? Well, no, you don't. First of all, like you can meet up for drinks. I swear to God, you can meet up for drinks any other day of the week for an hour. You could make an hour to go do that. No one's working. You have 24 hours in a day. If you're working, 20 hours a day and you probably should find another career, right? Or, you need to figure out some work-life balance because you shouldn't be dating anyway. You don't have any time to fucking date. But, let's see here. UPS chick was one of 4 in a rotation. She knew I was sleeping with other girls. She admitted later it turned her on. She had to work for you. Yeah. We'll get into that. So you don't want to schedule first dates on Friday or Saturday nights. We talked about that because you want, like I said, you want to get their hamster wheel going. You want them to at least think that you have other options. Okay. Don't be so quick to text or call her back. Okay. A guy who's like a high value man, right? A guy who's working on his purpose doesn't have time to text all fucking day. Guys who are losers will text all fucking day. All right. Guys that are like, they're working on their purpose. They're working on things outside of chicks. They've got their career that they're focused on. They got hobbies that they're doing. They have a good social circle of friends. They don't have time to text all the time, right? So you want to be that guy that doesn't text all the time. So I used to like to play mirror game. I used to be addicted to texting. Most people are addicted to texting. All right. You get that every time that phone dings, you get a dopamine hit. That's a drug addiction. Okay. It's a natural chemical that occurs in your body, but you're addicted to it. So to break myself of that habit, a chick would text me and I would set a timer. I'd reach for the timer app on my phone instead of reaching for the text app. And I would set a timer, like reply in 15 minutes. Okay. You also want to play a little bit of mirror game, right? So if a chick is taking 2 hours to reply to your texts, you want to return the favor. You don't want to immediately text back, right? She takes 2 hours to reply. You immediately text back. That comes across as needy. Even sometimes on a subconscious level, that'll come across that you're needy and desperate, that you're just waiting around for her to text you. Okay. And you don't want to do that. So if it takes her 2 hours to reply, you want to set a timer on your app and wait 2 hours and like 13 minutes and then reply then. Okay. So you don't want to spend so much time texting. You don't want to be so quick to text or call back. Okay. That comes across as needy. Guys that have a lot of chicks in the rotation, like they don't have a lot of time for texting, right? They're too busy. They're too busy with juggling all these chicks, right? So you want to act as if, right? You want to keep texting and phone calls to a minimum between dates, right? You really want to keep texting and phone calls for logistics only, right? Setting up the date. That's it. You don't want to try to be building rapport and keeping in contact and wondering if she has any plans and what are you up to, and all that's just boring. Okay. And you need to give chicks time to wonder about you. What is he up to? Why isn't he texting me all the time? Like, Bob over here, he texts me like 20 times a day. He does the good morning, good night, beautiful texts. I mean, it's nice, but what is this guy doing? Like, you want to be the guy that she's wondering about, right? Because when you do that, scarcity creates value, right? Look at diamonds, look at gold. Well, diamonds are kind of a artificially created scarcity. They're actually not as scarce as you think. That's a De Beers Corporation thing. But gold, right? Look at gold. Gold is precious. It's a precious metal because it's a scarce resource. Water, right? Water, which you actually need, is an abundant resource, and so it's not as valuable because it's abundantly there. Oxygen's abundant, right? But diamonds and gold are scarce, so they have more value. So you want to create that scarcity because it actually increases your value in her mind, right? If you're texting and calling all the time, you become a sure thing, right? You become like a backup option. I know I could fall back on this guy because I got to go out with this guy anytime. What's this guy doing? I want to make sure I set time aside for this guy. Okay. So you want to be a scarce resource. If she asks if you are seeing other women, right? Let her imagination do the trick. Be vague. You want to do this even with when you are actually seeing multiple women. I mean, you could be like Luis and just be straight up and be like, yeah, I'm banging like 50 bitches. But but I used to like to just be vague and let their hamster wheel do the work, right? And so you can do this easier when you're faking it until you make it, right? Because when chicks ask you, you don't have to be upfront with it. You could just say something that, like I used to follow Corey Wayne's advice and just be like, well, I always have room for one more, right? Because that means that you are dating other women and you always have room for one more. It means that you're not seeing any women. You have room for one more. It means it can mean anything. So you're not actually lying, right? You actually do have room for one more, right? You're not really lying to her, but it gets her thinking. It gets her thinking, right? Whatever you do though, right? You can be upfront. You can be upfront and let them know that they're in a rotation, right? You could do that. That's more mode 1 behavior. Being vague is more mode 2, but it's effective. Whatever you fucking do not say, no, I'm not seeing anybody, right? Some guys think that they'll scare a girl off if she thinks she's the only other woman, right? They think that they're going to scare a girl off if they tell her this. Oh, she's going to think I'm a player. I don't want her to think I'm a player. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Players are attractive. There's a reason why they're players. Okay. It makes you more attractive because of pre-selection, right? This is hardwired. This is evolutionary psychology. It's hardwired into women to look at guys that are liked by other women. It's like otherwise she's got to vet you out, right? She's got to sit there and like get to know you and figure out if you're a good guy. But if other women already like you, like that's sort of like a mental shortcut for her. She's like, "Oh, other girls like him. He must be okay." Right? So that's why like chicks are actually more attracted to guys that have options with other women. So if you don't have women yet, never fucking tell them no, you don't have other women. Just tell them I always have room for one more, right? Let's just say one of my friends is always on the phone with a girl who lives in another city, and yet he is always complaining about how she stresses him out. Probably because she won't fucking meet up with him. She likes that validation of the phone calls and stuff like that, but he won't actually but they won't actually ever meet up. That probably stresses him out. Actions over words, guys. If you watch a chick's actions, a lot of guys get stressed out by chicks because they're mixed signals. Girls giving them mixed signals. A chick's signals are never mixed if you never listen to what they say and just watch what they do, because their actions never lie. Their actions are always consistent. I wasn't that blunt, but I was honest. I let her know I was seeing other girls, which, yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, a fucking other bitch. No, just yeah. So, I mean, you could do that, right? Like mode one, you basically tell them up front, like, hey, yeah, I'm seeing other women. I'm weighing my options. There's nothing wrong with that either. Okay. I'm not saying don't do that. That like chicks will respect that, But what I used to like to do is I was more mode 2 with it. And I would just say, yeah, I always have room for one more, and just, playfully joke. Right. So anyway, saying that you're not seeing any other women make women wonder what's wrong with you. Right. I've actually heard chicks say this, right? It makes them think, why can't you get other women? Right. Are you just not an attractive guy? Are you kind of a jerk? Like what's wrong with you? Right. Basically, you're telling a woman you don't fuck. Okay. So never do that. Just either be upfront with them. Yes, I'm seeing other women, or I always have room for one more. Okay. Neither one is lying. Neither one is lying. That's honest. That's actually being honest. Yeah. It's a good sign if she's asking you about other women. Use that to your advantage. 100%. All right. That's pretty much the gist of it, guys. Okay. That's pretty much the gist of it. If you need any help with this stuff, get on the Patreon. Like I said at the beginning, I have one spot left in my premium tier that includes a monthly one-on-one call with me. Let me help you walk you through this. Okay. We can actually sit down and set up some goals that you can work towards with this so that you can actually start seeing some results. So if you're wanting to build up your rotation, let's see here. Get on the Patreon. Okay. Get on the Patreon. There's plenty of spaces open on tier 2. So that's also an option, but tier 1, we'll actually sit down over a video call, and we'll come up with some options for you. It's a good deal, especially if you're struggling with this sort of thing. So do that. And if you can't afford that, you probably can't afford dating in general. Okay. You might need to consider working on your career and making more money. Otherwise invest in yourself. Okay. Join the Patreon. All right. That's all I have for this episode, guys. Tune in Friday morning here on YouTube at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be talking about how to use AI to get some poon. Some brothers in the 3% Brotherhood have been dropping some gems lately about how to use ChatGPT for games. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that on Friday. Like one of the guys, we'll talk about it on Friday more, but one of the guys was showing how you can use ChatGPT for coming up with date ideas. We've had guys using ChatGPT for just text conversations, right? Like how do I reply to this text, right? You could do that too. There's lots of interesting things you could do with ChatGPT, and we'll get into all that on Friday. So tune in. That should be a fun one. Other than that, guys, do we have any other super chats here? No, I don't see that. So let's go ahead. And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. There's about 15 guys watching. There should be at least 15 likes on the video. Drop a comment if you're watching on the replay. Drop a comment below, any emoji, doesn't matter. If you are listening on your favorite audio platform, give us a 5-star review and write out why you like the show. I'll read that in an upcoming episode if you guys actually do that. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Like I said, join the Patreon. You can join for as little as $10. And you get Monday's episodes ad-free. You will not get this Monday's episode, though, early, because I'm going live this coming Monday. John MLD is joining me, and he wanted to go live. So for you Patreon guys, you're not going to see that live, but I will post it ad-free afterwards. So you'll still get that episode ad-free. I'll edit it for you guys, upload it probably Monday, but Monday's episode is going to be live. So if you guys do listen on audio, Monday's episode is going to be a little bit late on audio because it's going to be live. So tune in for that. John MLD is joining me. Let's see here. And then if you need help with getting a rotation going, like I said, I have one spot left for the premium tier. If you guys tune into these, send super chats. That actually supports the show more than you know. A lot of these videos get demonetized just because of the topics, and YouTube doesn't like the topics. So I'm largely supported by viewers like you. So I appreciate that. I appreciate Nathan and Luis who sent super chats today. Thanks, guys. Oh, and then and if you do that, I've got this down here. We got this one.
Club for life.
And then I also have this one too. Those are just fun to do. All right. And then get on the email list, list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll send you some free stickers for your troubles. Those are also available as merch at merch.comeonmanpod.com. And then finally, check out my practical law of attraction course, LOA.comeonmanpod.com. That's all I have this week or this episode. I'll see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.